Hello everyone, my name is Andrew. Today we'll continue learning Python, and today we'll talk about synchronization primitive in Asyncio called event. Before we begin, I suggest you to watch that video because I will not explain what asynchronous programming is, and you need to be familiar with it in order to follow what I'm about to say. Imagine that you have two tasks, task A and task B. Task A receives some new information, so new data goes into here. Our database info, users can send something to us, it doesn't really matter. Any kind of data goes to A. And then, once we receive that information, we need to transfer it to B. That is kind of it. So as you can see, we have two tasks and we need to synchronize them. And that is why we can use events. So events. Basically, the whole idea of an event is that if something occurs, another event takes place. What we'll do in Python, and I'll show you that in a minute, is we'll have task B waiting. So I'll write wait for an event, in our case, let me write event here, event to happen. And once we receive that new data, we'll say that event happened. All right, happened. So once event happened, task A will stop waiting because something happened and will execute some code. And that is how events work. Now let's go to Python and I'll show you some real examples. Alright, so let's look at some real code. And that is the example that I told you about before. We have new data variable, which is none by default. Then in task A, I'm saying that that variable new data should be a global one, so we can change it. And then, while true, we assign a random integer from 0 to 100 to that variable. And then we sleep for 2 seconds. So every 2 seconds, we'll have some new data in our variable. And what we need to do right now is get the data into task B. So as you can see, task B is an empty one, and in that name equals main clause, we just run all of our tasks, so very basic Asyncio stuff. Okay, so how can we synchronize both of those tasks? How can we move that new data from task A to task B? We can do that with events. So let's create a new event, which is equal to asyncio.event capitalized. Now, what we need to do? In task B, we need to wait for that event to happen. So while true, event.wait, and of course we need to put a wait before that because it's an asynchronous function. So task B will wait for some event to happen, and it will wait forever because we did not make that event happen. So we need to call function event.set in order to say that event happened. As you can see, I'm calling that task from task A, and what does that basically mean is that we get random integer to our new data variable, and after that I'm saying that something happened, event.set, and all of the functions that are using event.wait will continue working after that event.set. That basically means that something happened, you can continue working. And what we can do in task B is put new data, and new data is an output of our print. So let's test it. Let's run it once, and as you can see, we receive new data 22. Let's run it twice. New data 30. So we have random integers, but they don't work as we designed them to, because as you can see, we have asyncio sleep 2. So we need to sleep for 2 seconds, but our program does not do that. Why is that? Because after we made our event happen, so after we use event.set, we need to reload that event back to its initial state. So we need to clear everything. What I mean by that? Event.set makes our event happen, but event.clear changes it, changes to initial state. So why do we need to use event.clear? Because after we called event.set, we basically said that something happened, and now our task B does not need to wait for that event to happen because it already taken place. And what we need to do in order to prevent that is use event.clear. And let's run our code and see that new data 85, new data 43, and we have our new data output every 2 seconds. So that's basically what we designed our program to do. Events are very powerful, and you can also use them with multiple tasks. So 20, 40, 50, whatever you like. Tasks can listen to your event, so use event wait. And after that event taking place, you can execute some code in multiple tasks at once. That is very, very powerful. Thank you for watching. My name is Andrew. I hope you liked that video. If you have any suggestions, leave them down in the comments, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.